Hey, this is Mad Movie Mark on the Mad Movie Mark Movie Review. Thank you for joining me as I review the 1961 British drama Victim. Oh, I'm sorry, just one second. I have to answer this. I apologize. Hello, Mad Movie Mark.
If I hear from you again, I shall inform the police. Do you understand? That's absolutely final.
Police? What's this guy talking? He called me. What's this guy talking about? Anyway, I'm just reviewing every movie that has 100% fresh rating on Rotten Tomatoes. I'm giving them all a score of 1 to 10. After I watch them and score them all, I will rank them from worst to best. I started in the 1920 silent movie era, and now I'm at 1961 with Victim. This movie has 100% fresh rating from the critics and an 87% fresh rating from the audience. It stars Dirk Bogarde as Melville Farr, Dennis Price as Calloway, Anthony Nichols as Lord Fallbrook, and Peter McInerney as Barrett. Now, unfortunately, this movie talks about something that the United States still struggles with for some reason, and that's the persecution of people who have different beliefs than you, not accepting someone for being different and for who they actually are, and just generally treating people poorly when you don't understand their way of life, basically, is what this is about.
If only they led normal lives, they wouldn't need to come at all.
If the law punished every abnormality, we'd be kept pretty busy, Sergeant.
Even so, sir, this law was made for a very good reason. If it were changed, other weaknesses would follow.
So this is, it's based on true events that happened in Britain. When we first are introduced to this movie, we meet a man named Jack Barrett. Now, you can tell that this gentleman is just at the end of his rope. He's frantic. He's asking his friends if he can borrow money because he needs to get out of town. He can't really say why he needs to get out of town. His friends, I think, know the reason why he has to, but he doesn't want to say it out loud. He doesn't want to talk to people. He just wants to see who can help him either get a ride or get money so he can get away from the situation that he's in.
Just sweat it out. I know what horrid imaginings are. Now you're going to have your share.
You look at me as if you hate me.
That's a very good guess. For God's sake, get out!
At the same time, he's trying to reach a gentleman named Melville Farr. Now, Melville Farr is a barrister who is like a lawyer, I believe. He is a very great lawyer. He's fantastic at what he does, and he's next in line to kind of be given a promotion. So he's trying to reach Melville Farr, but Melville is not accepting his phone calls.
Oh, is it someone for me?
A young man, Barrett. He was phoning from Kelworth. He reversed the charge, so I thought I ought to accept the call.
What did he want?
He'll phone again tomorrow morning about 8 o'clock. He sounded quite desperate.
In fact, he's telling him, like, don't ever call me again. I don't want to hear from you. So we then see Barrett get arrested, and when he's arrested, he has in his possession a scrapbook with all these pictures of Melville Farr. So the cops are wondering, did Melville Farr have something to do with this? Why are all these pictures in this guy's scrapbook? So they bring Melville Farr in for questioning, and he says, oh, you know, it's probably just a crazed fan. You know, I'm a big-time lawyer. I didn't know this guy. I don't know who he was. But he says, I would like to talk to him. So can I go to his jail cell and, you know, have a discussion? And the cops say, oh, that's impossible because he hung himself, or he hanged himself earlier in the day. Now, this sets off some fireworks in Melville Farr's head. So essentially what happened is that Barrett is a gay gentleman, and he was having a relationship with Melville Farr, who is also a homosexual. But Barrett was being blackmailed. So there was someone who was taking pictures of him, and in order not to release these pictures to the press, he was making Barrett pay him money to blackmail him. Now, Barrett was trying to get these pictures to Melville so he can kind of explain what was going on, and so that Melville could have possession of these pictures and he would know what to do. Melville thought that Barrett was trying to blackmail him, which is why he wasn't taking any of his phone calls. After this, of course, Melville feels extreme guilt Melville has a wife who does not know that he is a homosexual, and he decides that he is going to try to find out who is the blackmailer, because he's blackmailing other homosexuals in the city as well. And I guess that this is something that was done because back then, being a homosexual was illegal. You would get arrested for it, you would get fined, and you would get thrown in jail for a certain amount of time. So he was trying to see who exactly was doing this because he was in love with Barrett. So he decides to put his own career on the line.
If I hadn't been trying so bloody hard to avoid trouble, this might never have happened. But it has. And they're not going to get away with it.
Well, if you dig this over, it could end in one hell of a scandal. And it wouldn't only be you who came down.
I know that.
He's able to catch this gentleman. The person who's doing the blackmailing will obviously say he has pictures of Farr, and Farr will, his career will basically be sunk. So Farr's only other option is to also pay blackmail money and let his career rise and just never tell anyone. But he decides he's not going to do this. He finally wants to put an end to this, and he's finally going to find the person who's doing the blackmailing. So the movie is basically him and his cohort. He has another guy that's helping him. Following the clues and trying to figure out who's doing this so they can put a stop to it. At the same time, his wife ends up finding out that he's a homosexual, and she says, what were your intentions with Barrett? And there's this really extraordinary acting scene where he says that he was in love with Barrett. He wanted Barrett, and that's why he's pursuing this, and that's why he really wants to catch this guy, because he just wants all of this to stop.
You were attracted to that boy as a man would be to a girl. I thought you loved me. If you do, what did you feel for him? I have a right to know.
All right, you want to know. I shall tell you. You won't be content until you know, will you? Till you ripped it out of me. I stopped seeing him because I wanted him. Do you understand? Because I wanted him!
I won't say how the movie eventually ends, but it is his crusade to find this gentleman and to put a stop to everything. I thought this movie was absolutely phenomenal and fantastic, especially during this time in England, in Britain. This was against the law, so they're making this movie at the same time that this is actually against the law. And the lead actor, who was Dirk Bogarde, who is Melville Farr in this movie, was actually a homosexual, and he actually put his career on the line for this movie. And I believe after this movie, he didn't have any leading man roles anymore. He was just kind of side characters. So he actually did put his career on the line for this movie, and this movie was one of the reasons why they got rid of this. They got rid of this law that said that you have to put homosexuals on trial and arrest them, and it was one of the reasons was because of this movie, and I think that's absolutely amazing. The acting performances in this movie are fantastic. Melville Farr is amazing. His wife in this movie, she's also very good. The man who plays Barrett is fantastic. Now, you don't see a lot of him. He's mostly in the beginning of the movie because he's basically just trying to set up the plot, set up what's going on, and then, like he said, pretty early on in the movie, he commits suicide. But the whole trying to find out who is doing this, they interview a couple other people who are homosexual in the town who are also being bribed, and you can tell that they're just scared stiff of a lot of them. They don't have the money to pay the bribe, but then they also they have to pay the bribe, otherwise they're going to go to jail. And a lot of these people have been to jail multiple times, and it's just kind of a way of life now. The cops catch them, they go to jail, and it's just this revolving door of constantly going to jail because of who they are. And it's absolutely terrible, but this is what really happened during those times, and it's just crazy to see this. But you can see the desperation on these people's faces and the hopelessness that they're going through of what they're leading. They can't deny how they feel. They can't deny their emotions. They can't deny their feelings. But their country's telling them they have to because they don't understand it. This is happening today in America. For a long time, homosexuals fought for their rights, and they fought for having the same rights as a basic human being, and they finally got those rights, and now the political climate is there's certain people who are trying to go back in the opposite direction and take those rights from them again. And it's just, I mean, it's to me, it's just mind-boggling how you can not understand a group of people, how you force yourself, you force your ideas, you force your feelings, sometimes you force your religion on other people, and it's just they don't have those same beliefs, but because you do, that means everyone else has to, basically, and that's kind of what this movie is saying, and the struggle that these people are going through to just be who they are and to just live an honest life. And it's, like I said, the acting performances are amazing. The writing is amazing in this movie. Fantastic direction. I will say, like, the copy of this movie that I watched, it wasn't, like, I mean, it definitely wasn't a Blu-ray. You'll see in the clips that I'm posting throughout this, that the copy wasn't great, but it's an older movie, and sometimes that happens. So I'll say the cinematography isn't, like, as great as what I've seen in other movies. And to even see that this gentleman, Barrett, he had real friends in the city who really cared about him, who really wanted to be there for him, who wanted to do anything they could to help him, but they knew they couldn't. Actually, there's one scene where there's this wife who doesn't agree with the way he lives, and she just outright refuses to help him because she thinks he's, like, dirty, or because he's not one of them. He's a different breed. He's a different kind of person, and she just outright refuses to want to help him.
Where have you sprung from, Jack?
I want to get down to the coast.
What's stopping you?
Sylvie, if Jack wants to shake down for the night, he's welcome.
No. I told you last time he came I wouldn't have him anymore.
You're not going to stop me having who I like in my own house.
Don't quarrel over me, please.
He's staying, Sylvie.
Not with us. Why can't he stick with his own sort?
But he does find people who generally would like to help him, but they just can't, because they would be either aiding and abetting a criminal, because what he's doing is a criminal act of being, having homosexual relations, or the town, the city would know that not only is this a homosexual, but that this is a person who's helping him, and they would be destroyed as well. Their reputation would be destroyed. And it's really unfortunate that he ends up committing suicide, because it really does show that desperation that he has, and the fact that there really is no one he can reach out to because of the situation that not only is he in, but that society is in as well. And the fact that if there was just one person who would have just said, I don't care about how I look, I don't care about what they do to me, I'm just going to help you. But that's not always easy to do. But there was just one person who would have helped him, who would have reached out for him, that maybe he would have made it. I mean, it's just a tear-jerking movie. It is just heartbreaking. The whole movie is heartbreaking. Even at the end, yes, I mean, does anyone really win at the end? Not really, but at least maybe justice was served, maybe justice was done at the end of the movie, but no one really wins. Not until years later, a couple of years later, actually, I think in 1967 or 68 is when they finally got rid of this law that said that homosexuals had to be arrested. Not until then did people actually win. But yeah, I mean, this is the kind of movie that you watch, and it should really make you feel not only angry and not only sad, but maybe I want to do something. I want to do something to make sure this doesn't happen again, to make sure that people shouldn't have to live their lives in secret. They shouldn't have to be who they are in secret just because another group of people doesn't agree with it. And that is happening so often in our lives, and so often even today. This is 60-something years later, it's still happening. And it's going to happen forever. And it's just, it's a shame. And this is the kind of movie that really makes you want to get up and take a stand, And I thought this movie was fantastic. Besides the cinematography and the oldness of the copy that I watched, I don't have a lot of things to say that's bad about it. This is a movie that I'll probably remember for a very long time. I will recommend everyone watch this movie just because of how impactful it is, and just because of how fantastic and amazing it is. Anyway, I'll give this movie a 9.5 out of 10. I hope you enjoy me next. I hope you enjoy, and I hope you join me next time when I review Ivan's Childhood. Thank you. Have a great day.